Welcome, I'm Lauren from Zestful Kitchen, and welcome to Everyday Gourmet. Let me know if you make it. Today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect pumpkin pie. There's one specific ingredient that makes the best pumpkin pie filling, and there's also one specific method that makes a really fabulous crispy and flaky pie crust. I'm going to show you how to do both today. We're going to start by measuring out our flour. You can do this with a cup. If you do that, I would recommend that you first fluff your flour and then you spoon it into your cup and level it off. So spooned and leveled, or we're going to do it by weight because that's the most efficient way to measure dry ingredients. So we need 1 1/4 cups, which is 154 grams of flour. And then we need some salt. So we need half a teaspoon of Morton kosher salt or 3/4 teaspoon of Diamond Crystal. I have Diamond Crystal right now. That's so unnecessary. Okay, just put some salt in. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients to our food processor. So we also have some butter here on standby, cold butter, fresh out of the fridge. I diced it up earlier. It's 10 tablespoons of unsalted butter. If you're using salted, which is fine, I would just add 1/4 teaspoon of Morton kosher salt or 1/2 teaspoon of Diamond Crystal because 1 stick of butter has 1/4 teaspoon of salt in it. We're going to process it just briefly. Okay. And then we're going to scatter our butter over top. Okay. So pretty. We're going to process this until it resembles a coarse cornmeal, so about 10 to 12 pulses. All right, let's look. That looks good. That's perfect. So you can see there's like little pieces of butter in there. So each pulse should be about a second. So when a recipe says pulses, the pulse should be a second. And then we're going to add this back to our bowl. Oh, the nice thing about this pumpkin pie recipe is the crust is made in the food processor, and then you can just keep this on standby. You don't even have to clean it out because we're also going to use this to make the filling of the pie. So it's kind of nice, less dishes. Now we're going to drizzle in 3 tablespoons of ice water. We might need 2 more after that, but start with 3 and just see how it comes together. And then I'm going to use a rubber spatula and just start lightly mixing it together. So once everything's kind of tossed together, then I use the back of my spatula to press it together. Depending on how humid your kitchen is, it might come together with just 3 tablespoons of water. If it's not that humid, you might need some more. So I'm adding 1 more. So this is still pretty loosey-goosey. You want it to be a shaggy dough. You don't want it to be that wet, but it should hold together at least somewhat. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now we're going to put it onto a large sheet of plastic wrap. And I'm going to use the plastic wrap to kind of bring the dough together. So the enemy of a really good pie crust is heat until you bake it. So you don't want your warm hands to melt the butter. So this is a great way to avoid that. Okay. I will use my hands just a little bit, but I'm going to use the plastic wrap to do most of the work. If it still isn't coming together, you can add a little bit more water. All right, now we're just going to form it into a disc. About a 4-inch disc is what you want. So I'm just going to fold it together. And then I always use my hands just quick to try to form it into a nice disc without melting too much butter. That's what you're looking for. So this will go in the fridge for 30 minutes. You can also do it for up to 3 days, or you can freeze it for up to a couple of months. It's a nice way to get ahead on the holidays. So we'll put this in the fridge. Our pie crust has been chilling, so now we're going to roll it out to a 13-inch round, and we're going to put it in our pie plate. And for this, you're going to want a regular 9-inch pie plate, not a deep dish, just a regular glass pie plate, which I found can be kind of hard to find. I just ordered mine online. You can also get it at like Target or Walmart. I'm just going to lightly dust the counter with some flour, and I'm going to slowly roll it out so it doesn't crack on the edges. If it does start to crack a little bit, you can always kind of go in and mend and just kind of push it back together and just slowly roll it out. And I find when rolling out pie crust, it's best to start in the middle and then pull towards you and then start in the middle and go forward and then rotate instead of just doing one long pull either way. It's best to start in the middle and just push or pull out. Just makes for a more evenly round crust. It's looking good. It's getting a little stuck, so I'm gonna put some more flour underneath. But you can see the nice, it's hard to hold it up, but you can see the buttery flecks in there. Okay, I think that's close. At this point, when you have it at about 12 inches in diameter. What I like to do is I roll it out to 13, but what I will do is I'll kind of roll the edges thinner than the center because they're going to get tucked under anyway. And then you don't have such a thick crust on the top, and you still have a nice thick crust on the bottom. So there's multiple ways you can get this into your pie plate. You can roll it over your rolling pin. You can try to grab it with your hands. I find the best and safest way is to just fold it in quarters, place the corner right in the middle of the pie plate, and then quickly unfold it. I think that's the easiest way to get it in without tearing. Depends on how strong your crust is, but that's how I do it. And then shimmy it in a little bit. Just pull up on the edges and let it kind of fall into the plate. You don't want to pull it or it'll tear. And if at any time this is getting too warm, you can always put it in the fridge for a little bit and then come back and keep working with it. Okay, so then to push it into the pie plate, I use 2 fingers and just push it towards the sides and into the bottom. You can see it's a little bit uneven, so we're going to trim the overhang to about 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to use kitchen shears and just trim it so it's even. Okay. And then I'm just going to tuck under the edges all around the pie plate. And you want to tuck just a little bit. You don't want to do too much. You want it to be still sitting on top of this lip. If it's not sitting on top of the lip, it'll just slide right down during baking. So you want to just do it right on top. Now we're just going to crimp it. And the way I do it is I just do a finger into 2 fingers, if that makes sense. Or you can do a thumb. You can do a thumb or a finger. I find the finger works best, but you can crimp it however you want. You can also use a fork. You could just not crimp it. Now that it's lined, we're going to chill it for 20 minutes. And then we have a few other things we need to do before we can bake it. So our crust has been chilling for 30 minutes. And now we are going to prick the dough. We're going to do the sides and the bottom a few times. And then we're going to take our very janky foil. I took this camping and I forgot to buy new foil. So that's why it looks like this. Okay. So now that our crust is firm enough, we can do this. You don't want to do this right away or else you'll tear the pie crust to hell. We're just going to press it into the bottom and the sides. You do want to make pretty quick work of it because you don't want, again, to get your pie crust warmed up too much. But you do want to press it very firmly into the corners. Don't be afraid to give it some good pressure. And then fold the foil over top. And this might be even a little long, so we can trim that later. But then what we're going to do is we're going to crimp through the foil. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow any excess steam from the water that we added to the pie crust and the butter to be released out instead of staying trapped in there and making it soggy. This is going to allow the steam to come out, and it's going to create really beautiful layers. So we're going to go back in the fridge for an hour, and then we'll be ready to bake this off. She looks so good. Pie crust is chilled. Now this is going to go into the oven at 400 degrees, bottom rack, and we're going to let it bake for about 15 minutes. After 8 to 10 minutes, it will start to puff up. That's what you want. Then you're going to go in either with an oven mitt or some kitchen towels, and you're going to press it back down. What this is going to do is it's going to create steam. It's going to kind of grow a little bit, and then we're going to push it back down. This is going to create layers, those flaky layers that are really reminiscent of a croissant. That's what this process is going to do. Now we're going to take the foil off and let it bake until it's nice and golden brown and dry to the touch. Here's our crust. She shrunk a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna make the pumpkin pie filling. It's very easy. It's blended up in the food processor. It's finished in the food processor. Has a secret ingredient, which we'll get to. But we're gonna start with a can of pumpkin. You want it to be 100% pure pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling. We're using the whole can. And then for ultimate flavor, we're using dark brown sugar. We're gonna do a cup of that, which is 200 grams. And then we're adding a ton of spices. So we're gonna start with our cinnamon. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of really good ground cinnamon. Oh, ooh, smells good. We're just gonna go in with that. And then we're gonna do equal amounts dried ground ginger. Make sure it's fresh, not fresh ginger, but a fresh can, jar, whatever. Because this one can really lose its potency once it's been open for a little bit. Fresh nutmeg. We're gonna do grated. If you don't have whole nutmegs, you can obviously use ground. And we're gonna do 1 teaspoon, so I'm gonna eyeball it. The nice thing about whole nutmeg is you get a little bit of the mace. So mace comes from the exterior of a nutmeg seed. Seed? Are they called seeds? Don't know. So you're getting a little bit of that spicy mace flavor, not just the interior nutmeg. All right, we're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. All right, then we're gonna do 1/2 teaspoon of Morton kosher salt or 3/4 teaspoons of diamond crystal. I have diamond crystal right now, so we're gonna do that. Every good pumpkin pie should have a little bit of black pepper. Adds just more warmth, a little bit of spice, kind of tricks your brain into thinking there's a lot more spice in there. You just need 1/8 teaspoon, so not much. And that's it for this step. So we're gonna blend this up. All right, scrape down the sides. It already smells good. Okay, one more quick blend. I'm gonna transfer all this to a saucepan. We're gonna cook it briefly. That's gonna cook out some excess moisture from that pumpkin. It's gonna toast the spices. And then you're also going to cook some of the brown sugar, which will give it the caramely flavor. And the secret ingredient in my pumpkin pie is mayonnaise. Now, before you knock it, which I would get, it's a common ingredient in chocolate cake. It makes a very luscious chocolate cake, so it's been done before in baking. But the reason why it's great for baking is it's an emulsification of things that are already in baked goods: oil, eggs, and vinegar. And the nice thing about mayonnaise in a pumpkin pie is because it's an emulsification, it stabilizes the filling. So if you say maybe overcook it a little bit, you're less likely to see the pumpkin pie crack on the top. It also actually holds onto a lot of moisture in the filling, and so you are less likely to see the beading of water on the top of a pumpkin pie that is so common that I find can be kind of gross and turn people off. So this helps with that because it holds that water in an emulsification in the filling. The last thing that I love about it is that it adds just a tiniest bit of tang that balances out the sweetness and the heavy spices in the pumpkin pie. You'll bite into it and you won't know what it is, but you will know that it's a very balanced in flavor pumpkin pie, and it's also just the most luscious, creamy, silky smooth filling. So this is my argument to try mayonnaise in your filling. It takes the place or replaces the normal sweetened condensed milk and cream. So it actually takes 2 ingredients and reduces it down to 1, which is kind of nice. So it's a easier pumpkin pie filling. We're gonna cook our pumpkin spice mixture over medium high until it's thickened and shiny and kind of starts to sputter. That's gonna take about 5 minutes, and wouldn't walk away from it. I've walked away from it. It won't be the end of the world, but you wanna stir it frequently so it doesn't scorch on the bottom. It's getting shinier. Little burps. All right, so the mixture is super glossy, really shiny, almost like sticky and caramel-like. It's basically a pumpkin butter. You're making a pumpkin butter as the base of your pumpkin pie. So I'm gonna turn that down to low, and I'm gonna whisk in our mayonnaise and our milk. So I'm just gonna add this in, and then our whole milk goes in. Okay, make sure nothing's hiding in the corners, no pumpkin that's not getting mixed in. Okay, oh, looks delicious. All right, so I'm just gonna leave this on low just to stay warm, stirring it occasionally because you want it to go in still slightly warm, but it doesn't need to be simmering because we don't need to thicken this anymore, and we still need to blend in some eggs. So it needs to be warm, but not hot. You're gonna need 3 large eggs. Room temperature ideally, and I'm just going to crack them into our dirty food processor because everything's going back in. Okay, and then we're going to blend this up until it's foamy. That looks good. Look how foamy that is. Amazing. All right, now with the processor running, we're going to stream in our warm filling. Again, you don't want it to be hot, but you do want it to still be kind of warm. And you're going to want to start adding it so slowly. So now that we've basically tempered half of our mixture in, now we can kind of add it a little bit faster. We don't have to do it as slowly. Smells so good. The thing about this recipe is there might be a little bit too much filling, especially if it shrinks a little bit, which is normal. You can save the excess filling for miniature crusts or miniature pies, or you can get rid of it. So we have quite a bit extra, but like with the pie crust, don't get too greedy because what will happen is if you put too much in, it'll flow over the crust and get underneath. So just put as much as you need. It'll be a little bit dependent on how much your pie crust has shrunk. So we're gonna put this in the oven for about 25 minutes until it's shiny on the top. It should look a little dry. The edges should be set and it should jiggle ever so slightly in the center. You still want to jiggle a little bit because you want it to be nice and silky smooth. Before we cut into this gorgeous pie, I'm going to show you a pie that's overbaked. So this is the same exact recipe. My oven was extremely hot, more hot than I anticipated. And I kind of put it in the oven and walked away. Wouldn't recommend doing that. So this probably baked 5 minutes too long. And you can see there's a huge crack and then it's also pulling away from the sides up here. That's a sign that it's overbaked. Still edible, will still be good. It's just going to be a little bit more firm in texture. Not quite as luscious and custardy as you'd like. That's how you'll know if you overbaked your pie, which is a bummer. Don't do that. Ooh, looks good. Oh my God. It's all about that filling. That filling is so luscious. The crust is still flaky and buttery. It's not stodgy. Oh my God. It's a perfect pumpkin pie because it's creamy and custardy and it's so balanced in flavor. I think you're gonna like this one. Whether you're an advanced or novice pie baker, I promise you can master this recipe. Let me know in the comments what you think about the addition of mayonnaise. I'm curious to know your thoughts, and you can get the full recipe and all my tips in the caption below. And I hope you meet me back here next week for another Everyday Gourmet. Thank goodness. Done.